This is part 3 of our competitive research. We've learned about uh, positioning map in our part 1. We've learned about direct and indirect competitors in part 2. And now here we want to know about competitive analysis matrix. Okay, what's this matrix? Let me show you here. So competitive analysis matrix is a spreadsheet to collect all required pieces of information related to our competitors. Okay, so it helps us to know what to be collected. So when we are trying to collect information related to our competitors, we would know what to collect, and we would know where to place it in our matrix. So basically, the rows are the competitors, and the columns are those attributes that we want to collect. As simple as that. Like here in this uh, link here, you could see basically, yes, if I hit this link, it would lead me. Okay, let's see. It's here. Yes, it would lead me to this matrix basically. Okay, so this matrix is created by Jamie, author of this book, UX Strategy. This is an amazing book. I suggest always to buy this book, and I believe it's an amazing one. So this is one of the tools that's been introduced here in this tool, and there would be a kind of you could see that there are the rows of this competitor, like direct competitors, indirect competitors, and then here, the second column, you enter their URL of their website, login credential if you need, value proposition, year founded, funding rounds, and all those things, revenue streams. So everything that you need to collect and should be here on the headers. You can even customize based on the type of product that you have. You can customize and change, like either uh, take out some columns or modify them, change them to something that you think would be much more meaningful in your in the context of your design. Okay, content type, is it, for example, um, there would be editorial kind of content, or would it be like user generated content there? So there are different types of contents, and what would be the personalization features, so we would know how much the user could personalize or customize the product. And then community or user generated content features, if there are any feature related to these kind of user generated feature, will be available there, like social media, for example, like crowdsourcing applications. Okay, and competitive advantage, and or key features, like how they compete, like what's their main value proposition, like what would be the thing that makes them successful, or help them survive in that bloody market area. And the region, it might be not that much related, like if it's relevant, keep it, otherwise take them out. Heuristic evaluation, I'm gonna create something really related to this heuristic evaluation, but in a nutshell, heuristic evaluation is about the usability of this application, like how usable it is, how easy to use would it be for the users. So all those things. And customer review, what's the rate, what the customers said. Like if you go to App Store, Google Play Store, so you would be able to see the customer reviews there, and then you can read the reviews, especially those reviews that are more talking about the negative things. So those would be the weaknesses of the product. Yeah, so you want to know what are the strengths of the product, weaknesses, and all those things. And general notes, if you need notes to staff, if you are working in a team. So if you don't work in a team, just take them out. And finally, SWOT, SWOT analysis. I'm going to talk about this later, okay? So here, uh, let's go here. How many competitors we need to study? Okay, this book Um, It's mentioned five direct competitors, three indirect competitors would be a best option, but sometimes you wouldn't be able to find any direct competitors. Your idea is so unique that there's no any competitor out there with the same value proposition. So you end up with all competitors that are considered as indirect competitors. Okay, so in that case, the best practice would be to categorize them differently. Like if they're all indirect competitors and your idea is unique, so categorize them based on these two categories: established competitors and new players. Okay, what does it mean? Established competitors, they've been around in the market for years. So they know the market, they know how to satisfy the user's requirement. The user's requirement might be different from your user's requirement, or the solution, the requirement or the problem of the user might be the same, but the solution would be different. That's another. Or they might target a different user group, for example. But they've been there in the market for a long time, so they know the best practices. They've learned to experience the best practices, and they adapt themselves to the market, to the user's requirement, and everything. So we can take out from studying their products, we can take out all those best practices we need. So they it, like that's why we have it we want to have a category dedicated to these established competitors. But on the other hand, we have some new players coming in the market segment, more or less referring to the same user's problem with a different solution. But here, what we need to know is that new players are also important. We might not find best practices there, but we can find some innovative solutions. Because imagine if they are new players, they've come into the market with some great innovative ideas. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to survive in that market. Okay, so new players could teach us, for example, how to use new technologies, new ideas, for example, AI stuff and all those things. Okay, so that's why we categorize them based on these established competitors to learn best practices from, new players to learn innovative solutions and market entrance strategy from. Yeah, that's an important point because I believe if you have a unique value proposition, you won't find direct competitors. So you need to categorize your table here based on these two things: established competitors instead of direct competitors. Okay, established businesses, and instead of the indirect competitors, you change it to new players, for example. Yeah. So that's it. Let's go where to find info. Okay, there are some websites that we can find info. Like, for example, Crunchbase is one of them that you can, if you want to know about the business, uh, overall kind of information here. For example, this is Crunchbase. So you want to know, for example. You see these more popular things here, but I'm gonna go with Meta. Okay, Meta is here. Okay, so Meta, we could learn about their location, number of people working there, their website, their stock, and everything related to their businesses. Working on augmented reality, social networking, everything like the categories, tons of interesting things could be found here. Like if you go to financial tab, you see that there's been 22 lead investment. So among the 49 funding round 17. So total funding amount $26 billion. So you would learn, and you can see the details here, and you would be able to learn lots of things from here. Then you go people, technologies, signals, news, and all those things. And remember here, I'm just using this kind of free version. You can use the paid version to get much more information as well, like Open AI again, like total funding amount, and then if I go to financial, you see here, so people, everything like technologies, and so yeah, artificial intelligence, information technology, machine learning, for example. So these are the things that you can learn from your competitors here. Just need to know their name. Okay, and there are other things as well, like for if you are, for example, dealing with the e-commerce types of things and you want to know the traffic and all those things. So there are tons of websites. I just mentioned the names from this book. Those are the things that I found like useful. Other source of information would be App Store, Google Play Store, where your users could download the application. There you would be able to find reviews. Another place to find reviews would be G2, for example. You could go there, see user reviews, and then there you would be able to learn lots of things about your competitors. Another one would be Captura. You could do the same there as well. So user reviews would be another source of information to know what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, and all those things. And there are a couple of other sources as well. Okay, so the last column is the most important one. Like when you collect all those information, at the end you need to go and work on this SWOT analysis. What does it mean? Yes, for strengths, what makes a competitor difficult to compete? What's the value that they offer and the others couldn't offer? Maybe they have a great customer base. Maybe they have kind of cost effectiveness. I mean, you need to figure out what makes them unique, what makes them difficult to compete with. Okay. Weaknesses would be what don't they offer or do poorly, but you can like they can, but usually they haven't either thought about it or they haven't felt that they can do. There should be a reason, but for example, there is a technology that's available, or there is a feature that the users are suffering from. Okay, and there is a bug, for example, in their system, or anything. Okay, could be considered as weaknesses. They don't offer, or they offer poorly, so part of users requirement not been satisfied yet. So where you can find it, usually in competitors review. Like if you go to the website, or you go, for example, to G2. Okay, so you can choose, you can see that kind of like here what they dislike, what the users dislike, and that would be an amazing thing that you can put them in that. Like here again, what do you dislike? So you can read those things carefully, list them all here in the last column as the weaknesses. Okay, and then opportunity. What opportunity your competitor has exploited yet? Could be a simple feature, okay, but they haven't they have this opportunity, but they haven't or hasn't exploited it yet. It's so the opportunity is there. They might be doing that, for example, using AI in their system to do this kind of processing and all those things. Okay, and finally, threats. Okay, what could potentially harm your competitor's business? Okay, like for example, competition, legislation, politics, technology, any other things. Okay, what would be considered as the potential threat to your competitor? So, as you might understood so far, when I'm explaining about SWOT, all these SWOT analysis should be done from the competitor's perspective. Like you are counting their strengths, their weaknesses, the opportunity that they have, but they have not exploited yet, like they haven't implemented that feature, for example, in their product, or the threats. Uh, Threats also would be from their perspective. What would be considered as risky or harmful to their business? So, the stability OT should be done from the competitor's perspective, and that would be it. Like after doing these, you most probably would have your matrix ready, and you can start working on that.